On this episode of China Uncensored, why buy an iPhone when you can buy a big cola phone? Hi, welcome to the one and only China Uncensored. I'm your host, Chris Chappell. I know a thing or two about knockoffs. You know, things that look like the original but maybe aren't exactly the same, but pretty close. It's true though that when it comes to knockoffs, China is the undisputed king. And it's largely thanks to loose intellectual property laws and, well, people generally not caring about the laws that are in place. Plus a Chinese court system that usually rules in favor of homegrown Chinese companies. Take the iPhone. No, not that iPhone. That's a Chinese leather goods maker that beat Apple to the iPhone trademark in China. I'm talking about the never-ending stream of cellular handheld devices that look suspiciously like Apple's iPhone. Here are my top 5. Number 5, Oppo China style. This is the Oppo. A quick glance at their website makes it pretty clear where they get their inspiration. But they slightly changed the shape of the home button, you say. Yes, but these phones, the F3 and F3 Plus, otherwise look pretty much exactly like iPhones. They even follow Apple's color options. But after F3, the numbering gets weird. There's the A77, the R9S Plus, the A39, the N3, the N1 Mini, and the awkwardly named Find 7A. Hey Siri, find 7A. Number 4, Big Cola. People in China love the iPhone. Just look at the lines for the release of the iPhone a few years ago. The problem is, most people in China are actually really poor. 78% of people there make less than $10 a day, according to the Pew Research Center. And considering the iPhone 7 and 7 Plus both go for around $1,000 in China, you can see how there might be a bit of a disconnect. That's where Big Cola, or Da Cola, comes in. It was specifically designed to be a cheap iPhone knockoff, less than half the price. And you can also get a 2-liter version free if you order 2 large one-topping pizzas from Pizza Hut. Now that's a deal. In fact, a few years ago, the Big Cola was even hailed as the best iPhone knockoff. Yes, this was a whole industry in China. But the company folded. What happened? Did people start buying the real thing? No. Other, larger Chinese companies with dubious ties to the government decided to get in on the fake iPhone game and dominated the market. And that brings us to number 3, a supernova. You see, what Big Cola really was lacking was big-name celebrity endorsement that only a mega telecommunications giant like Huawei could reel in. Sure, it's an iPhone knockoff, but it's endorsed by Chinese heartthrob singer Zhang Yixing. And it's not just the Nova. The Huawei P10 is also basically an iPhone clone. Now sure, having a Huawei device may have its downsides. The US government thinks that Huawei has undisclosed connections with the Chinese government, and Huawei equipment could surreptitiously harbor software to facilitate cyber warfare, including espionage or network disruption. But don't worry, they were talking about Huawei's telecommunications equipment, not their phones, which I'm sure are safe. Number 2, the iPhone? Wait, is this an actual iPhone? It says iPhone, it has the Apple logo on it, but as those of you who read Chinese can see, it's not an iPhone, it's the best iPhone 7 Plus knockoff. You see, this isn't a brand. Their motto is, we're the leader in high-quality iPhone and Samsung knockoffs. And they nailed it, right down to the iPhone 7's missing headphone jack, making this knockoff just as terrible as the original. I mean, no headphone jack? What were they thinking? And finally, number 1, will the real smartphone please stand up? Okay, now this one barely looks like the iPhone. And yet, the Baili 100C accused the iPhone of stealing its design. That's right, a Chinese smartphone maker so small, it didn't even have a website, sued Apple in a Beijing court for stealing that classic Baili 100C look. Irony is dead. And of course, The Beijing Intellectual Property Office ruled in favor of the Chinese company. They said Apple's iPhone 6 and iPhone 6 Plus have minor differences from Baili's 100C. The differences are so tiny that the average customer could not notice. The result? Apple was banned from selling the iPhone 6 in Beijing. Of course, Apple immediately appealed, and there was no actual break in people being able to buy the real iPhone. Apple did eventually win. It helped that Baili was a defunct company by then anyway. But if an out-of-business Chinese knockoff can sue Apple for stealing its design and win, at least for a little while, actually I don't know what that says. How about you tell me what you think it means? Leave your comments below. Thanks for watching this episode of China Uncensored. Once again, I'm your host, Chris Chappell. See you next time.